let's check this out, buddy. So if we throw up the question here, we have to simplify the rational expression. And check this out. Interestingly enough, they give us some options here, like we have to blast in the answer and our exclusions. But look, all of them say like no numbers must be excluded for h, no numbers must be excluded, and no numbers must be excluded for x. All three of those pretty much are wrong, right? Because we have x and h in the denominator. So we have to list those exclusions. So kind of a weird thing there, but anyway, A is our only option. Now we just have to figure out what's going on. Here's what we have. I'm going to rewrite this because in my video anyway, and in the class, I like to say instead of this fraction over a fraction thing, I like to get rid of that and say divide by h. And then I could really just change that, and I could just say, well, let's multiply that by 1 over h, if you will. Okay? Now what we're going to do, I'm going to do this part first. We still have to do the denominator here. So our LCD is going to be x plus h squared times x squared. So that's our LCD. LCD is going to equal x plus h, I'll just write it out long way, times x squared. You can put the x squared out front if you want. So let's build up some equivalent fractions here. Okay, I already have my x plus h squared down here, which is fine. I'm going to have to multiply by x squared top and bottom, so that's going to give me 7x squared over x squared, x plus h squared. I'll just write it factored out because I'm lazy. It's early. Now over here, I'm going to have to multiply this by x plus h squared top and bottom, so it's going to give me 7 times x plus h squared, again over our LCD, thusly, and we're still going to multiply that at the end of the day by 1 over h. But we're still working on this part here, okay? Don't start getting crazy with h yet. So now, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do some order of operations. So, not too much I can do here, but here I'm going to have to FOIL this out first, because remember we have to do exponents first, right? Bedmas. Then I'm going to multiply it all by 7. So, need some more room. Need a lot more room on this one, eh? Woo! Alright, so let me just rewrite the left term. 7x squared over x squared times x plus h squared. We're going to subtract that from, now when I FOIL this out, I'm going to get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, right? So it's going to be 7 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Or hx, I guess, would be the technical way, but that's the way she goes here. Times 1 over h. Okay, so now let's distribute that, and we'll combine some like terms. So I'm going to have 7x squared over x squared minus x plus h squared. Now over here I'm going to distribute the 7, so I'm going to have minus 7x. And again, this is all in brackets, right, because I'm subtracting here. So minus 7x squared plus, and I'll leave this bracket out, I'll leave this negative out here for right now. I'll just distribute the 7, although really, I guess I could do it all in one step, eh? Might as well get her done. So all this I'm just going to put all over one common denominator. Hope you follow me on that one there, buddy. I'm just like skipping a step just to make it easy on myself. So we're going to have negative 7x squared. We're going to have negative 14xh. And then we're going to have negative 7h squared. And that's all still times 1 over h, blah, 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 over here. We'll combine some like terms. I have plus 7x and negative 7x. So that's gone. I'm left with negative 14xh minus 7h squared over our common denominator times 1 over h. Now, that's pretty much it, but let's reduce here. I'm not going to reduce too much on this the denominator unless something kind of obvious comes up. But over here, up top, we have an h. H is a common term here, and in fact we could pull out a negative 7 if we want to get real fancy. Not really going to matter a whole lot, but we might as well. So let's pull out the GCF up top. That's going to be minus 7. We'll do our brackets. That's going to be, sorry, minus 7h. We'll do our brackets. That's going to be 2x That's going to be minus h inside the brackets there, right? Because I just divided all off there. Yeah, I'll factor out the minus 7, so plus h. Again, over our denominator, x squared times x plus h squared times 1 over h. More room. So now we can cancel off this h, right? These are all factors right here. So on the top, I'm going to have minus 7 times 2x plus h, because all that times 1 is just that, over x squared minus x plus h quantity squared. So there she is. Now obviously, you know, we have to think now about what our exclusions are going to be. Hopefully I simplified that correctly. It's early. Haven't had my coffee yet. Actually, just I missed the negative on that. So there we go. There it is, all factored. So our exclusions, we have to set each of these factors equal to 0. Okay, so x squared has to equal 0. We're going to figure out our exclusions, and we get x plus h squared, or just x plus h really, because you know that's two factors anyway. X plus h equal to 0. We got to solve for x. So this one, pretty straightforward, right? Square root of both sides. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 0 is 0. Therefore, x can't be 0. And over here, x, if I subtract h from both sides, x can't equal negative h. Now this probably seems pretty weird, but again, it just comes from setting each factor equal to 0. Okay? So there it is, our exclusions, and h, by the way, itself. We have another factor. We have another exclusion, right? Because we have 1 over h kicking around somewhere, so that can't be 0 as well. So x cannot be 0, nor can it be negative h, and h cannot be 0. And that kind of makes sense, right? If this was negative h, if x was negative h, let me get a different color to show you. If we had negative h for x plus h, well, that equals 0. So that's where that comes from. All right, buddy, I hope that helps. Let me know if it doesn't.